Okay, class. So this demo is for the axial muscles. Out of the axial muscles, we have already looked at head and neck, the muscles of the head and neck and the scalp. So for this segment, we are going to look at the muscles of the chest and abdomen. Okay, so basically this is a full body muscles. We typically refer to this as Big George. So you can see the full body muscles. You can see the axial muscle. So basically this is what our focus is going to be, axial muscle. So muscles, we typically learn them as superficial to deep and sometimes external, sometimes superior, inferior, anterior, posterior, etc. Okay. So at a glance, let me enlarge this. At a glance, we can see a few muscles along the chest area. The most superficial muscle is pectoralis major. What you can see here is the pectoralis major. When pectoralis major is reflected, bisected, meaning cut and reflected, then deeper to the pectoralis major, you can see the pectoralis minor. Let's enlarge this and let's look at it from a little, zoomed in. So basically, pec major, pectoralis major. I'm going to write it as pec major, but make sure you write it as pectoralis major. And here, from the ribs to the humerus, you can see the pectoralis minor. As you can see, the ribs are exposed, which means some of the muscles here and the other, the fascia, etc., that have been removed. So basically, pectoralis major is removed from here. So right along the midline of the body, the structure that's made of dense connective tissue, this is referred to as linea alba, white, straight, linear structure, linea alba. On the left here, that is the model's left, below the linea alba, and on the right, where the linea alba has been removed, what you are looking at is the rectus abdominis. Rectus abdominis. Remember, superficial and deep. On the left, that the model's left, that is the most superficial abdominal muscle is the external oblique. Notice how the external oblique is visible when ribs are not exposed. Because external oblique is basically it's attached to the lower ribs. So while the ribs are visible, you assume that external oblique has been removed. And here on the right, where the ribs are exposed, meaning external oblique has been removed, you are looking at internal oblique. So anteriorly for the chest and abdomen, we can see the pectoralis major, pectoralis minor, rectus abdominis, linea alba, external oblique, and internal oblique. Okay, so let's look at this. We can see pectoralis minor, pectoralis major, which is superficial to the minor. We can see the rectus abdominis. You can kind of see the external oblique. Here, we don't see the external oblique. Basically, what we are looking at here is the internal oblique. So basically, you are looking at the lateral aspect of the body. If you pay attention here, you can see that between the ribs, we got two sets of muscle, external intercostal and internal intercostal. So external and internal intercostal. External intercostal are actually slightly slightly superficial, and internal intercostals are deeper. So I'm just going to draw this here, 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 basically here, here, here. What we are looking at, muscles that are attached between the two ribs are the external intercostal, and the deeper muscles are the, or here too, these are the internal intercostal. Along with this, along the lateral side of the body, we can see this sawtooth muscle, see that, which is attached, run from the rib to the humerus, rather the undersurface of the scapula. So running from the ribs to the undersurface of the scapula, this muscle is serratus anterior. Serratus anterior. Okay. So again, we're looking at the same thing here. Number one, pec major, right here, pec minor. So I'm going to again make the demarcation here. Look for it. External intercostal and this, internal intercostal rectus abdominis, linea alba, ribs covered, meaning external oblique, ribs exposed, meaning internal oblique, and right here the sawtooth, right there, serratus anterior. This is basically the same muscle, and make sure the muscles of the Head and neck, whatever is identifiable here, please identify those as well. I have done a separate demo for it. Same thing, linea alba, rectus abdominis, internal oblique, external oblique, pec major. Now this is a nice one. Here you can actually see the external and internal intercostal. So pec major, pec minor, pectoralis, major and minor. Of course, rectus abdominis, linea alba, external oblique, internal oblique, ribs exposed. Okay. And right here, you can see the external intercostals fairly clearly. They are superficial and they are also toward slightly lateral. So external intercostals, and right here, 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 these are internal intercostals. And this is turned slightly laterally. So once again, I'm not going to go over the abdominal muscle. You can see the external intercostals. You can see the internal intercostals. And right here, this sawtooth, basically this is fan-shaped serratus anterior. Now, transverse abdominis. Okay. So this is basically the chest plate that we're looking at. This is a chest plate. When it's flipped and you are looking at the interior, that's what is visible here. So interior, look at this muscle. You can still see the linea alba. So this muscle where the striations are side to side, notice that the striations are not oblique, they are side to side. Basically, side to side striation, this muscle here is the transverse because it's running transversely. Abdominis. Transverse abdominis. And right there, the dome-shaped muscle. This is the diaphragm. Diaphragm will be visible also when we are looking at the full body from anterior aspect. So this is the posterior part of the chest plate. Okay. So make sure you identify the muscles that are visible in rest of the images. So I just want to show this. You can see the serratus anterior rather clearly. And what we're looking at here, and this too, is external oblique. Since we are looking at the lateral aspect, the muscle that's posterior and superficial to the serratus anterior. This is the one of the longest muscle, Latissimus Dorsi. Runs from the vertebral column to the humerus. Okay, so this covers all the muscles of the chest and abdomen. There will be another demo on the muscles of the back and the deeper muscles.